Are you tired of hearing that your prospects can't afford your coaching services, even though you're offering a great deal because you're a new coach? Well, what if you could overcome the price objection by offering a coaching service that screamed high value but had a surprisingly low cost? What if that could double your revenue per hour without increasing your rate? Well, coach, you're about to find out how to level up your profitability, and not by raising your prices, but by using this smart idea for new coaches. Hey, coach, I'm Ronnie Noize, and I've been coaching full-time for over 20 years. I discovered early how to instantly level up my profitability, and not by raising my prices, but by offering group coaching. Today, I'm going to break down exactly how I got started with group coaching as a new coach using a simple strategy you can copy, even if you're just starting out like I was. Plus, I'll go into helpful detail about why group coaching makes so much sense financially for both you and your clients, how it attracts great clients that will pay, stay, and pay some more. I'll also reveal the types of groups you could offer. Plus, I'll share how to easily promote and enroll new clients into groups so you can build your coaching practice quickly. Because done right, groups can be a smart idea for new coaches. If you like smart ideas and you're building your practice, you'll find lots of help here on my channel. Please take a moment now to like and subscribe. Thanks. Okay, let's get to it. First, my story of how I started with groups, and you can too. Now, when I began my coaching business, I had just come out of the corporate world as a marketing consultant, and I was sick of big businesses. As a new coach, my niche was still marketing, but my audience was small and new businesses. A wide open market, or so you might think. But while a lot of new small business owners needed help with marketing, most of them didn't have a lot of money, especially not for paying a coach, because a marketing coach doesn't deliver the marketing, and that was the problem for them. They said stuff like, "I'd have to pay you hundreds of dollars a month and still do my own marketing? I don't think so. No, thank you." So I had an idea, inspired by Michael Gerber's E-Myth book, in which he mentioned that he hosted a series of seminars to educate small business owners as a way to find clients for his consulting business when he first started. I decided to build on that idea, and instead of hosting my own events, I developed a presentation about the high value of a marketing plan that explained the individual components and even showed worksheets and an example. I chose this topic because this was what I worked on my clients with. Now, given the nature of my presentation, I thought local business associations and chambers of commerce who would let me be a guest speaker at their meetings would be a good fit for me. Then, at the end of the speech, I would offer a marketing plan coaching package for $1,200 that included my examples and worksheets. Sounds great, right? So I did that, and it worked. I sold an average of one $1,200 package to every small group of small business owners I spoke to. But after a couple times delivering this speech, which my audience loved, by the way, I noticed that people kept telling me that they wanted to work with me but just couldn't swing that much money, even if I offered payments. So did I have anything else to offer? Was there any way they could get my worksheets and examples and my personal help, but for less money? As a marketer, I knew that when the market speaks, I need to listen. So I put together an offer for a coaching group, not framing this as a class, because most people hate the idea of homework, but love the idea of coaching groups. So a coaching group for people who wanted to be coached through writing a marketing plan. I broke down the process into 6 sessions, included the worksheets and examples, and priced it at $99 per person. At the very next speaking gig, I offered both the $1,200 private marketing plan package and the $99 group marketing plan development program at the end of my speech. And that night, I made 18 sales, totaling $2,883. And just like that, I was doing groups. Here's how the money penciled out. One coaching package at $1,200 with 12 coaching sessions. That's $100 per hour for service delivery, which is good for a new coach. And I got 17 enrollments at $99 each, which worked out to $1,683. Divide that by the 6 hours of the group, and that's $280.50 per service delivery hour. Wow, that's over double the hourly rate of private coaching. And after that first group wrapped up, I had clients asking me what was next. A couple wanted to go into some private coaching programs, great, and several wanted another group. See how that works? Instead of churning through clients who only bought my coaching one-on-one, by offering groups, I had something more to offer my clients when they wanted to take the next step. Okay, that's enough about me. Let's talk about you and why I love this strategy of groups for new coaches like you. Why offer group coaching? Good questions. Here are the reasons I think it makes sense to offer group coaching as a new coach. First, groups offer a low-cost entry point for new clients that's easy for you to sell. Now, so many new coaches tell me that they hate sales and they don't want to spend the time and effort on sales meetings only to have their prospects say they can't afford coaching. Has that ever happened to you? Low-cost groups with a specific deliverable offer huge value and are perfect for easy, low-touch sales strategies like preview webinars, public speaking, social media, and even email. The only challenge with the way I started selling groups is that it can take a while to build out a presentation. But the program itself evolves from that, and so I did it in a matter of weeks, and so can you. The second reason I love group coaching for you as a new coach is that it can deliver a quick payday. I recommend the low-cost pay upfront model to start instead of the higher-priced groups where you have to worry about multiple payments because those quick sales build your confidence and get you used to asking for and receiving payment. Plus, it gets you paid for coaching without having to find somebody with a lot of cash to spend. Speaking of payments, the third reason I love short-term small groups for your new coaching practice is that they provide an opening for additional revenue with one-on-one sessions for group members. Many, I'm going to say at least 50% of my experience, many of your group members will want more of your time, more of your attention, and more of your expertise on an individual basis. And that means more one-on-one coaching sessions without having to go through a whole new sales process. Which brings me to the fourth reason I love this for you: more options for your clients. When you offer one thing, one-on-one coaching, that can be sort of a dead end, especially when your clients need a break from the intensity and high activity that's typical with one-on-one coaching programs. Your clients will want breaks from the work, the commitment, and the investment. But they may not want a break from you because you have a great relationship with your clients, and they may not want to give that up. So, giving them an option for a low-cost, low-pressure group to stay in touch gives them the continued connection that they want without the obligations they don't. Because the truth is, almost everyone goes through seasons of high activity and focus, followed by periods of low activity and recovery. Those rhythms are universal cycles, but if there's nothing to keep them connected, they have a good chance of never coming back. So when they say they need a break and will come back when they're ready to dig back in, they actually need options, either a low-pressure group that offers them support through the time off or a re-entry group to get back into the rhythm of getting it done. By having these options, you're better serving your clients through the seasons of life. And finally, the fifth reason for offering groups: retention. Instead of the constant pressure to find tons of new clients, you can develop a base of long-term clients. Because once your new clients get used to working with you, they can stay for years. Mine did. Imagine if you had 10 to say 50 clients who bought quarterly coaching sessions from you year after year, who referred their friends, who bought more of your programs, attended your events, and even invested in your merchandise. You can stop worrying about marketing when you develop a solid client base that considers your services essential to their success. And it can start as easily as a 6-week group. Now, full disclosure, over the 20 plus years I coached, I did coast sometimes with very little drop in my revenue because I went through the same cycles like everybody else. But with such high retention, my revenue didn't suffer. Right about now, I bet you're wondering, what's the revenue potential with groups? Let's break it down. It doesn't take a genius to recognize that a lot more people paying a little less money for the same amount of time and effort from you is smart. Although many new coaches shy away from groups because they're worried about filling the groups, totally valid concern, by the way. What they don't realize is that the lower price point itself is very attractive, which is great for attracting new clients, but also great for clients who've already worked with you in private coaching and will enroll just for the novelty of a new service, if nothing else. How much to charge can be confusing, but I have a couple of suggestions for you. My former coach, Dan, used to tell me to charge as much as I could ask for with a straight face. For a lot of us, however, that's not much, especially if we're new to selling and feeling uncomfortable. But it's not nearly so difficult to ask for the sale when you know in your heart that it is a screaming good deal, right? Let's do the math and compare revenue from individual coaching and small group coaching. I'm going to use the current standard rate for life coaches as my example, obviously, Rates may vary depending on your niche, and of course, you can charge whatever the heck you want. It's your business. Let's start with what Bark has to say about coaching rates. Now, if you're not familiar, Bark has a price guide for coaching by country, and we'll look at the US figures for life coaching. Average cost per session is $90. Minimum cost per session, $65. Maximum cost per session, $125. Another source you can look at is the Life Coach Hub Coach Directory. They say that coaches generally charge between $40 and $90 per session for life coaching. So I'm using the $90 per session rate here based on Bark and Life Coach Hub. But do be aware that lots of coaches, especially new coaches, charge less, and some coaches are going to charge more. So let's say you have one client at $90 per session. If you deliver 3 sessions per month, that's $270 for 3 hours of direct service. Pretty good rate, right? Although it's important to point out that the time spent in direct service, actually coaching is not the only time you spend per client, but this is how we're going to calculate the profitability here. So this works for now. Now let's look at a small group. You can charge each person less than half what they would pay for private coaching and still earn more. Say you have only 5 clients at $125 per month, and you offer 2 90-minute group coaching sessions. Your total revenue is $625 for 3 hours of direct service, which works out to $208 per hour, over double what you earn for private coaching. So let's reduce the price to under $100 and see where that lands. With those same 5 clients at $99 per month for 2 90-minute sessions, that's $495 for 3 hours of direct service, which pencils out to $165 per service delivery hour. Again, a huge jump in earnings per hour. So just to compare, we're talking an hourly service delivery rate of $90 versus $165 to $208 in this small group example. It should be obvious why I love this for you, especially if you're not yet at the $90 rate in your private coaching. This is more than a smart idea, and it's a no-brainer. What types of groups could you offer? Let's talk about that. You're really only limited by your imagination here. If you need some ideas, I'll outline 3 possibilities that work well for new coaches like you. The first, easy to sell and easy to set up groups for new coaches is a curriculum or project or outcome-focused group, like I did with marketing plans. These are very popular because they have a tangible delivery at the end of the series. People also like them because while they're doing the work themselves, they're getting guidance and feedback from you, as well as the support of their peers or like-minded others through the process. Second, masterminds. Again, these are very popular because people love the energy and the companionship of others with similar goals on their journeys, and they like having the process facilitated by an expert. One of the advantages of masterminds is that you don't supply the content, just the process. And when the chemistry works, people are willing to stay in these groups for years, renewing quarter after quarter or even annually if you decide to go that way. The third group model is my personal favorite, laser coaching. Laser coaching groups are great, even when the participants are in different seasons or phases of their process or working on completely different goals or different businesses, because they can benefit from those who are ahead of them in their journeys as well as feel encouraged by those who are following in their footsteps. It's also great because all participants are exposed to new ideas and strategies that can help them in surprising ways. In my business, I offered all of these types of groups, plus a couple of others, but my laser coaching groups ran consistently for nearly 20 years. Yeah, the times and days and participants changed by season, but laser coaching was an incredibly popular service that I did right up until the final day of my practice. And let me tell you, by using that coaching muscle in the small group environment, you become incredibly confident and actually pretty good at whatever the coaching interaction tosses at you. Now let's discuss how to promote and enroll in your groups. The great thing about promoting your groups and enrolling new clients into them is that you can do a lot or a little depending on the resources you have available, your style, and your goals. As a former marketing coach, I know that the best marketing is what is most natural for you. Now notice I didn't say what's most comfortable or easiest, because it can be uncomfortable to find your way in marketing if it's new to you. The best advice I can give you is to focus on your strengths and to diversify your efforts. In other words, do what you do best and do more than just one thing. For example, here are 7 ways I successfully marketed my groups that you can try. Number 1, Speaking events, I'm talking giving speeches to groups, offering a live webinar, or some other destination or by appointment group meeting where you're expected to make a presentation. The nice thing about speaking events is that you can repeat the same script over and over again, improving and honing your message until it works every time. This has always worked very well for me, but I'm an introvert who likes to teach and speak. If you're an evangelist for the transformation your coaching delivers, I highly recommend this strategy because speaking lets people see you, get to know you, trust you, and feel confident that you can deliver what they want with your process. Number 2, email invitations to current clients, former clients, prospects, and by prospects, I mean people who have indicated an interest in working together. Either they've had a sales consultation with you or they've downloaded something and ended up on your mailing list. I should mention that I typically created 3 or 4 slightly different versions of the email invitation, so it seemed really personal and reflected the relationship I was in with these folks at the time. It's a lot easier than it sounds, just a matter of a few words, really. Number 3, an enrollment page on my website. Now, I know that websites aren't nearly as important as they used to be, but they are very helpful, especially if somebody just checks out your site because they've heard about you from someone else. At the very least, you can insert an enrollment widget from whatever payment platform you're using, such as Stripe, or maybe you're using your appointment app for enrollment, whatever. Just make sure it's there so people can find it. As a side note, I've been amazed at how hard to find some coaches make their offerings. Don't you make that same mistake. Number 4, social media. Yes, of course, social media is great, but it shouldn't be the only method you use because you don't have control over who sees your stuff on social. Now, you could pay for advertising on social, but unless you really know what you're doing, it can be useless. Money spent for no results. On social, I posted videos, text, photos, so on, always with a link to more details on my enrollment page. However, you do what you know works for you. And just remember that with over 95 million photos and videos shared each day on Instagram alone, your 3 little mentions might get overlooked. And clicking away from Insta might be asking too much of your audience. So make your posts as interesting as possible and use the platform your market prefers, but do more than just social unless you're already getting tons of leads from it. Number 5, use your sales meetings to enroll, especially if you find out during the sales meeting that as much as your prospect wants to work with you, they just can't swing the cost of private coaching. Give them an affordable option and they will love you for it. Bear in mind that the price point of a group may not be high enough to merit its own sales consultation, but it is a great option B when private coaching just isn't right for your prospect. Number 6, partner referrals are another way that really works. If you're working cooperatively with a couple of like-minded, complementary but non-competitive referral partners, you can get their help extending the reach of your messaging. Now, I'm not talking about affiliate partnerships or paid referrals because typically that might not make sense due to the low volume or price point, but you can offer special bonuses to folks referred by your partners if you like. Keep in mind that your referral partner is referred because it's good for their clients to work with you, not because they want that $14 referral fee. Number 7, spread the word. And by that, I mean talk and write about your programs and make sure your messages get delivered. This means mentioning it when you're networking because this is the perfect answer to the what's new question. Write about it in your newsletter. Create a cool postcard to hand out and to actually mail to your hottest prospects and best clients. Just make sure you mention your group to everyone with whom you have a relationship and do it more than once. Marketing works best when layered and repeated across channels. So those are the ways I filled up my groups, but they're not the only ways by any means. If you've already found marketing strategies that work well for you, use those. But if you want to try something that has proven to work, you just got 7 great ideas from me. By the way, you'll need at least 4 of these ideas working in concert to make it happen. It may take a lot of work at first to get it all set up, but once you figure out what works for you and your audience, it gets easier. Okay, so that's a lot of information, and I hope you're encouraged and excited about adding groups to your new coaching practice. You may be wondering where to start, what's the first step, and I got you. And it's going to be so easy for you because you're a coach and you know this stuff. Start with the gap and the transformation. Where are your prospects now and where do they want to be? That's the gap. As an example, with my business, the gap for my prospects was that they were new in business and had no clue as to how to get new clients. The place they wanted to be was to know what to do and to have ways to consistently attract new clients. The obvious solution was to create a marketing plan designed to leverage their strengths, transforming from no clue what to do to having a step-by-step plan that gave them focus and confidence. That's why my first group was about creating a marketing plan. Does that make sense? Which made it easy for me to come up with a presentation that addressed that gap, that explained what a marketing plan looked like, what it included, and what it did for their business. And in the presentation, I didn't gatekeep the information. I gave it freely so my prospects could imagine themselves having that knowledge, that information, and that transformation applied to their businesses by working with me. My group became the obvious next step, the obvious solution, because the information isn't the thing you're offering as a coach. They can get information anywhere. You're offering transformation, evolution, growth. When you can prove you know what they want, where they want to be, and that you know the path to getting there, the only question they'll usually have is, when can we start? Okay, coach, you've got your work cut out for you. Today, we've talked about group coaching, the high profit service to attract new clients to your new business. I shared how I started with groups, and you can too. I gave you 5 great reasons for offering group coaching, walked you through the revenue potential of groups, suggested 3 types of groups that could work for you right now, plus I gave you some ideas about how to promote and enroll into groups, and wrapped it up with where to start and next steps. Are you ready to start your own profitable coaching group? Let me know in the comments what type of group you're thinking about creating. And remember to subscribe for more practical coaching tips. Thanks for watching, Coach. I'm Ronnie Noize, reminding you that today is a great day for coaching.